My blessings and love to you all. I am Aaron. And I thank you for being with me tonight. Last night I was deeply moved, as many of you may have been, by the 17-year-old girl who had the presence to bear witness to what she saw happen with Floyd. To hold her camera there despite the police saying, "Go away." She said afterward she felt that she should have done more, but what she did was remarkable. She made herself a witness to something she perceived as wrongdoing. And she was willing to stay there even at some risk to herself. What this world needs right now is more of you who are of a high vibration, deeply committed to bringing a loving presence to the world and willing to bear witness both to that which is beautiful and to that which is negative. To bring it in with a lot of love, whether it seems positive or negative, to hold it in the loving heart. And to bear witness in the same way to yourselves and your own lives. To the places where anxiety, anger, feelings of unworthiness, greed, contraction, where these arise, without getting caught in those stories. What does it mean to bear witness? It's the fruit of your Vipassana practice, to learn how to stay present. And how many lifetimes have you probably seen truly horrifying things? And it's all running through your body whenever you see something in this lifetime that resonates with that. Brutality, maybe a forest fire, a car accident, a flood, and all the old stories of so many lifetimes. What shall we do? What shall I do? How do I fix this? Not deal with it, fix it. Such old stories. To bear witness means to bear witness also to this personality self. Greeted? Hello, personality self. But without fear. Bearing witness means to include the personality self without making it a solid self, without believing in it as core. Just one aspect. This is not self. This is just the personality, the ego, the one who is annoyed or afraid or uncomfortable. Give yourself permission. Perhaps the hardest permission is, I do not have to fix this. This very courageous young woman says she felt she should be doing something. But finally she realized the best thing she could do was just to record this on her phone and to stand her ground. Let's take this into a bigger space. To stand one's ground. For you in your daily life, you don't have a policeman, one or several, saying, get out of here, get out of here. You have your own inner voices saying that. do something, fix it, or go away, flee. All those inner voices. And the heart of love that says, no, I will bear witness. I will stand my ground with love and see, even this heart, these people being murdered, this forest burning, this lava pouring down the mountainside. Love, not so much I, love will bear witness. How does that translate into your daily lives? Talking to Barbara today, she gave you a brief description of the turmoil of her day. First, when she finally got off this phone call, where they were trying to get onto her computer, and that's what alerted her something's not right. She got off. She called her sons, and they said, "Oh, Mom, how could you do that?" Compassion for herself. She acknowledged it was dumb. I should have known better. I bear witness to my humanness that sometimes it does get caught, that sometimes does not act in the smartest way. I hold myself in love instead of accusing myself with angry words and thoughts. So, unskillful, yes. She should have known better, yes. But it was too late for that. Then moving into the next step, trying to figure out all the passwords, call the bank, and do the different things she needed to do to make sure they did not access anything. Watching the energy. How do I fix it? Calm down. You do not fix, you attend. Ego tries to fix. Love centers and attends. Then somewhere in the middle of that came the Zoom session with Hal's doctor, bringing Hal into the room and shifting the computer that had been in the same position on her desktop for 14 months. And suddenly she saw this big gap. Fear came up. What's wrong with my computer? And again, I asked her, stop and bear witness to the computer that is, I don't know how to call it. It's not damaged, it's malfunctioning. In other words, not damaged, she didn't drop it. Damaged because the battery has gone bad. Stop. Submit for yourself and for the battery. Can you see yourself in these situations? The contraction, what's wrong? How do I fix it? Oh no, I need my computer. What will I do? Just to bear witness. Be that brave woman holding her camera on the disastrous situation in front of her. After all, there was a man dying. Here, the computer has not yet exploded. Relax. Just hold it in love. And when you finish the Zoom session, she needed to continue with the computer on for the Zoom session. She didn't know it might explode. Then call Nicholas, who said, oh, well, turn it off right away. More of that fear. How do we greet fear? You will know this. Breathing in, I am aware of the fear. Breathing out, I hold space for the fear. Not to get caught in the stories. So whatever stories they may be, for Barbara, going into Best Buys, I suppose, it's the first time in 14 months she's been in a store. It was not crowded. She had a mask on, but she was aware of the trepidation. Breathing in. I've been telling all of you, high energy, loving energy is the best block to this virus. Raising the energy. Truly bearing witness. I believe that your president will have a large environment conference tomorrow on the whatever technology he uses. With people from many countries. Some of you, especially here in Ann Arbor, well, all over, but knowing from my own knowing here in Ann Arbor, you woke up to several inches of snow on the ground this morning, coating all the flowers, coating the flowering tree buds. What will we do? Bear witness. Can you go out there with a hair dryer and to try to blow the snow off of all the buds? It's a 30-foot high tree. Offering a loving energy and bearing witness. So I want to make sure you understand what I mean by bearing witness. If you see a child fall on the ground and start to cry, you don't just stand back saying, oh, I will bear witness. You go forth and help the child. You look for the parent. You take action. But the action is based in love, not in fear. Bearing witness does have an active phase. You move out and do what needs to be done. But it's not from the ego, it's from the heart of love. So we start with who bears witness. And it takes so much courage to bear witness in this way. It's so much easier for the ego to run around screaming and pushing and pulling. Not very effective, huh? But at least the ego feels, see, I'm doing something. What are you doing? Running around screaming? Center yourself. In this moment, what is predominant in my experience? Contacting consciousness. Feeling of unpleasant, perhaps. And then the question, how am I relating to it? If I'm relating to it with fear, with contraction, that becomes the next predominant object. The fire over there, or the person screaming, or your own body pain, these are no longer predominant. The strong aversion to these and the movement, I must fix this. I must fix this. This is predominant. Can I be with this uncomfortable ego self with compassion? This is the only way to get back to what I shall call the one who knows, the awakened heart of you. And it is that which is capable of bearing witness. Your world is going through a lot of turmoil right now, both with the virus, with the environmental problems, with the problems of race, religious, and other areas of bigotry and fear and hatred. They all need your centered presence. If we are going to move through these problems and transmute them so that the world becomes the Eden it can become, it depends on all of you and your willingness to stay present with that which is uncomfortable. I'd invite you now each to call up something uncomfortable in the last few days. It could have been an experience of body pain. It could have been a situation you were in with others. It could have been discomfort with your reaction to that situation. It could have been fear or grief. Take a minute now to breathe deeply and invite the memory of that situation into your heart and mind. Feel it as if it were fresh, contacting consciousness, and right there in front of you. This particular physical, emotional, mental, or even a spiritual experience. I am assuming that it is uncomfortable, unpleasant. Watch that very human mammal fight, flight, freeze mechanism. I want out of here, or I need to control it so it will go away. Just watch it. Feel my energy and love. I am with you. This is a bit like asking you to face a snarling tiger. I happen to be pretty certain that the tiger will not attack you as long as you stay quiet. I can't guarantee it, but it's most likely. How would it feel to just to bear witness to this tiger who is snarling? So, like in whatever experience came to your mind, the snarling tiger, what form of presence are you going to bring? Let's all be quiet for about 2 minutes. You are doing this so beautifully. Can you feel your own energy field opening a bit? Higher energy, increased spaciousness and light. Can you feel it amongst each other, even just here through the Zoom screen? A lighter energy. Can you feel the possibility, the increased possibility to simply bear witness? If there is realistically something you can do that will help and not interfere, Like helping the injured child with the bloody knees. Fine, do it. If there's nothing you can do, you are not doing nothing when you are bearing witness. You are bringing energy and light it down and out and to surround the scene. You are holding it in the heart of love. Take this to your own reflected situation, whatever it was that was hard. Not to rush in and fix, not to run away, just to hold space. It's almost like a tongue practice, and you can do that, but perhaps less conscious, just feeling the energy and light that fill you and offering it out. Feeling any fear or agitation and reaching out and releasing. You don't have to move the hands. Do it within your heart. You can move your hands if you choose. Offering a light and love. Helping to make them accessible. Then helping to release whatever agitation. Let it go. And then fully present with the scene and witness. Witness. Let your heart be your telephone that's recording the scene. I bear witness to this challenging situation, and I hold it in love. Let's do it again for a minute or two. Can you feel a reduction in that fix it or flee from it energy? Can you feel that in any of you? You came into this human incarnation with so much love and courage, seeing the chaos in this world, seeing the pain in this world, and seeing all the fixers trying to push and pull with agitation. You came in with an awakened heart, with love, with wisdom. But you have forgotten, of course, because this human experience is a realm of forgetfulness. Now you are waking up. You are remembering how you are able to respond. To really help the earth move into the higher vibration that we all seek, a vibration of love. Your political views, your religious views, none of these have any strong importance here. Wherever you come from, whatever perspective, you are capable of living from this open heart. Those who are more radical or conservative, who believe in this religion or that religion. As long as you can get past the I'm right and you're wrong, you can hold the space for any kinds of conflicts that go, any dissension, that it leads to fear, contracted energy, and anger. This is not about having a particular view. It's about becoming unattached to your views, to your opinions, so you can hear others. And how can you witness if you cannot hear? So I really want to call on you all to deepen in your capacity to bear witness by observing the true possibility of a non-attachment to views, so that you can hear yourself and hear others, so you can hear all the cries of the world. Thich Nhat Hanh says it beautifully in his poem, "Please call me by my true names." I am not quoting him perfectly. I don't have the poem in front of me. Please call me by my true names so I can wake up, so I can hear all the joys and all the sorrows. So my heart may burst open with love. I repeat, I am not quoting it directly, but you can read the poem. Call me by the true names of the one who is ashamed or angry or afraid, the one who feels helpless, the one who once bowed, the one who is afraid of bowing, the one who is in anguish, who has experienced loss, the one who finds it so hard to listen to others. We are all of those. And we are awake. That awakened one is right there with you. This is what takes courage, not to feed off into being the one who is going to confront this or that, or run from this or that, condemn or fix. I choose to be present and to witness, and out of the depth of that witnessing, my deepest heart and wisdom will know what to do. This is not a fixing, this is bringing attention to and holding the attention. This environmental conference tomorrow, I would ask as many of you who feel it's appropriate to please consider to spend some time tomorrow just holding the damaged environment of earth in your heart, bearing witness to the cries of the plants, the lakes, the trees, the mountains, the soil, the air. Hear them. Share your love with them, and then offer this loving energy out to this whole group of people who will make some decisions. Like shining a light into a group meeting in the darkness. Not making decisions for anyone else, just holding that light. Cherishing the earth, not just tomorrow, but tomorrow, I believe, is that conference. It's a useful time to do this. the more loving energy can be brought forth to support the earth and those who would help to support the earth, the better. I understand that many of you applauded the verdict yesterday for the police officer who knelt on the cement. That's fine. But please remember the anguish of those who are policemen or in some other manner called upon to keep order and simply are unprepared to do it in a skillful way. Instead of condemning them as bad, hear them, bear witness to their pain. Think about the situation of a person who came into the police work, meaning well, not really involved in getting powerful, meaning well. And then he's in a situation. Here I'm giving an example that Barbara received from one of her sons in his town last week. A policeman shot somebody and killed him. Hearing the story, first judgment rose up in Barbara. Mike, who was a photojournalist, was called to the scene, so he was there. He did not watch the shooting, but he saw the repercussions of it. So many sides. But the man had a knife for a gun, and he was holding a very young baby. He was outside his house. Whatever tussle had started this, he was holding a weapon. He was threatening everyone around him, and he was holding the baby. What do you do? Do you shoot? If you have certain deeper kinds of training, for example, all of you might have been able to stand there in a circle and just hold loving energy and calm them down. Wouldn't it be wonderful if all police were trained this way? But they're not. So it's so easy to condemn the policeman who shot the man, saying, I thought I had to protect the baby. Looking back, perhaps he realized this was this man's child. He probably would not have hurt him. Maybe I could have talked to him first. Such a painful situation. He's outside his home. His wife is looking on. He's holding their baby. He's threatening with, I don't remember the nature of the weapon, but he's yelling. Very, very angry. What do you do? Can you just bear witness and try to understand what's happening? This opens to so many places in your life. So often we do not understand what's happening. You only hear one side or the other side. It's so easy to jump in. Sometimes it is important to take a stand and to act. Sometimes on these errand nights, long ago, we got into a discussion. If you are just outside of a schoolroom, a lot of very young children, and a man breaks in with a gun and says, I'm going to shoot everybody. If you have a gun, what is the most wholesome and skillful action? Do you shoot him? He doesn't see you. Do you shoot him? Do you just bear witness and watch him shoot all the children? It's not an easy question. People have asked me, what is the karma of killing him versus not killing him? The question is not so much killing or not killing, it's what is doing the killing or not killing. When fear and ego step in and either kill or don't kill, there's very real unwholesome karma. When you hold the space and listen, the one who knows has an opportunity to come forth into your heart and really see what's happened. To bear witness and to move from that witness. At some level, you do know what to do. Don't tell me you don't. You do know what to do. The ego wants to know 100%. Love knows there's never 100% about it. I think there are going to be a great many challenges in your world in this coming year. All of you as humans have the habitual tendency to respond, to react from the ego self. All of you have the power as awakened beings to watch the ego self wanting to react, to step back, even just for a second. Center yourself and be a witness to the scene in front of you and to your own reaction. And to ask, what brings the highest good here? What would love do? What would the Buddha do? What would Jesus do? What would an awakened human do? And in what ways is that terrifying to take responsibility to respond in that way? Stepping back. This, my dear ones, is why you came. And it's why you have done all the spiritual work you have done in your lives. You have learned to center yourself into this awakened heart, to hold yourself deeply in love, and to hold everything in love. Increasingly, to live and witness from a place of non-separation. I am you and you are me. Present with this. It is in this way that you are able to transmute the fear-based and negative energies that swirl around your world and allow them to release so the energy of love can become predominant. So that all beings may live in joy and peace. Give me a moment here. This story goes back a long, long time. I was not truly awake at that time, but waking up. I had a deep sense of commitment to do no harm and to see every sentient being as connected to me and me to it. We lived in a village by the ocean. We were a very peaceful people, living very much in non-harm with any being. We did eat the fish. We sometimes ate the meat, but we did not go out and hunt for hunting's sake, but to feed the people. And we ate the fruits of the earth. One day, some of our fishermen came in very upset that during the night when they had been out, they had heard what sounded like large canoes, perhaps of warriors, approaching our shore. They were afraid. They had moved away unseen. And they left it to the elders of the tribe. What are you going to do? We didn't really have weapons. We had farming implements. I was the senior elder, if I can phrase it in that way. That did not mean I made decisions, but it meant people respected my thoughts. I said to our whole village, the village was on a plain and then steep hills. There were some cliffs in the hills, forests also. I said, take anything that's truly valuable, not much of that, just food and water. But take a blanket or whatever you feel you might need. Let us all climb the hills. Let us be up there quietly and watch. Just at dawn. When I say warships, do not picture ships with cannons, but big dugout canoes and people with swords and clubs pulled up on our beach, yelling. We watched from in hiding up high in the hills. We could see them breaking down the small shelters that we had, using their swords, their knives, to break things apart, destroying. We had left a few animals. We had taken many with us, and we had set the rest free in the forest. They went through, and they were furious because there were no people there. As we heard them, we understood they wanted not only our goods, but to take slaves. The day passed. They looked for us unsuccessfully. They would not have found our trails, not have found our caves. We had some tricks up our sleeves, not to harm them, but to ask them to leave. One of the caves had what amounted to a deep echo chamber. It was something we used at times. Coming up into the cave and all together chanting, so the voice poured out in a loud echo over the beach and valley. So as dusk came, darkness, we went into the cave. And we began to speak out a warning, as if one was a god. These are my people. If you harm them, you will suffer. We watched them. It was not fully dark. We could see, and they had fires lit. We watched them. Look, where is that coming from? Much too loud to be the voice of a single human. Nobody had microphones then. We beat on drums. We cried out in this voice again, these words of warning. And then, at the same time, a few of us who were very quiet in our movements crept up down near the beach. We had one weapon that we made at times, not really to be used as a weapon, almost more for entertainment, but it was enough to alarm. If you open a coconut husk, not crack it open, but drain the liquid out and a big enough hole to fill it with burning material. Open air at the other end. Add some, we used lard from animals' fat to make it burn better. Carrying a hot coal with you. So until you were 50 feet away, you didn't throw this. Then, at the right time, from the hills, a small signal. And then the voice saying, you have been warned. And a dozen of these flaming coconut fire bombs landing not on top of the people. We didn't want to harm them. It was enough to terrify them. And never have I seen people move fast. We also had a few people at the outskirts up on the hill, so that the last light of sun would hit the white fabrics, skins that we had flying on sticks, waving. Well, it's useful when people have a lot of frightening beliefs to play on those beliefs. It's not harming them. It's simply asking them in no uncertain terms, you must leave. And they left. The next day, we came down from the hills. We had sent a few scouts out in the very quiet, small boats. They said there was no sign of them. They were not on any neighboring island. They were truly gone. What does this have to do with bearing witness? We were able to witness their greed, their fear, their self-centeredness, and not to move into a desire to harm it, even though they had already destroyed our village. The village could be rebuilt. No true harm was done. When you deeply witness and see where a person is, more effective ways to say no with non-harm will come up. You see the fear in yourself that you do not invite to manifest. You see the fear in the others. Love says no in no uncertain terms, but without harm. How will you say no to those who are doing such great harm to the environment? Hearing their fears, their prejudices, their distortions, not holding on to a fixed view, but simply knowing I will not allow the environment to be destroyed. I will not allow one race to destroy another or overwhelming another, no one religion to do so. I will not allow fear to destroy the world. But I choose to do this from a place of love. I have the courage of the witness, the one who observes, watches, pulls out the phone or the coconut bombs that will not harm anyone, not 200 people, or the white cloth waving in the distance, playing on people's fear in a way that does not intend to harm them, but to say a clear no. You begin to know how powerful you are to say no in wholesome ways. So what I am suggesting here is not that one just witnesses and stands back and lets the world destroy itself. To learn how to say the compassionate, clear no from the heart that has witnessed and seen deeply and intends no harm. This is not just about releasing these negative influences from the world, but even more, it is about shifting the energy itself. If you fight back with violence, violence begets violence. If you run away, it will catch up to you. If you witness in this way, you can do amazing things because you are love. And this is the power of love. I want to say that I'm passionate about this topic, and I could easily talk to you for a few more hours and with more stories. But let's hear what you have to say about it. Why think of yourself as inefficient? It's just a story, my friend. Certainly, in some ways, every human is inefficient. Every species has its areas of inefficiency. But you are light. You are awake. Your heart is strong and filled with love. Try to see the distinction between feelings of perhaps diminishment of the self, of unworthiness, old stories, and what they may protect you from. And inefficient. What is the direct experience of inefficient? Well, if Barbara goes out to her garden and tries to dig a hole because of her age and general weakness, she won't be very efficient. But she's very efficient in trying to hire somebody to dig the hole for her. I'm looking at the things that you feel you're inefficient about. You said, especially in the workplace. So I hold the intention to make this happen. So if I can't do it myself, how can I do it? Efficiency is so much in the mind. It is not whether the vaccines are distributed or not distributed, although I do see that the vaccines are effective. If you receive the vaccine from a place of love, it will be much more effective. If you receive it with a lot of fear, will this harm me? It will still be somewhat effective, but not in the same way. If you decline to take the vaccine from a place of fear, no, it may hurt me. That declining may in fact hurt you. If you choose to decline it from a place of a deep feeling of, I am coexisting with a virus, I will not let it take root in my body. Not I won't fighting it, but I choose to hold such a high vibration that this virus cannot take root in me or harm me or others around. Then perhaps you don't need the vaccine. But there's a risk there. Is your vibration high enough to overcome the vaccine, to overcome the virus? Why not just take the vaccine? I look at these vaccines in a very positive way. 70, 60 years ago, there was a lot of polio in the world. Now we do not have polio epidemics. The vaccine really, not completely, but largely eradicated it. Smallpox, other deadly diseases. I see it just as a way of co-creating, or rather dialoguing with whatever the disease may be, and saying, no, I'm not going to invite you in. And so I'm putting this layer of protection, of shielding around me, not out of fear, but out of respect for myself and for you, virus, because I knew you were powerful. And I respect your power, but I do not intend to let you harm me. Basically, you are not harming the virus. You are just shielding yourself from it. That's very different than going out there and waging war on it. So I think on the whole, it's helpful. This is just my perspective. If you have a different perspective, that's fine. Thank you. I want to add something to that. How would it be if we had millions of people running around saying, I need the vaccine, I need the vaccine, beating others over the head to get to it? It would be harmful. If we had everybody saying, oh no, the vaccine might harm me, get rid of it, that could be harmful. We'll come back to the deepest intention. I choose to do that which is for the highest good of myself and all beings. I choose to do this not to wage war on anything, but to skillfully say no. This is what we were talking about earlier. One wholesome way to say no to anything is to shield yourself from it. That's all. Thank you. Okay, it's hard for me to talk right after Aaron was in my body. Give me a minute. This goes back to 1961, 60 years ago, a long time ago. So I was very involved in nonviolent action for peace and human rights, picketing, freedom rides, different kinds of activities. There was a place where I was picketing. Somebody came up and pushed me to the ground. One of the people who were upset with me for picketing. I did what I was taught to do. I covered my head. I could see that he was kicking me, not really intending to break ribs, but more to humiliate me. But I was lying there feeling so much anger for him. At this point, I wasn't even 20, maybe 19 years old, so I was young, learning how to do this. I felt shame for all the anger, and I realized his anger is my anger, but I couldn't really divide, couldn't bring them together. Somebody pulled him off of me. His last words to me were, "I'll see you next week if you're not too scared," because we were picketing there weekly. I was terrified. I also knew I needed to go back. So the next week, the same scene played itself. Week after week, 7 or 8 weeks. I might not have done it the same way now. I'm perhaps a bit older and wiser and understand things differently. But when I look back, I see that the way that I was able to relate to this, finally, he was kicking at me again, and not, but nudging at me with his foot. And for the first time, I was able to acknowledge to myself, I am angry, he is angry. I am scared, he is scared. To really hold his fear and anger in my heart. So finally to hear his anger, instead of saying, "You're wrong, you're on the wrong side." Not out loud, I hadn't said that. But so finally, I started to feel my heart opening. It was not his fear or my fear, his anger or my anger. It was the anger, the fear of all sentient beings. And my heart just opened with so much compassion for myself and for him. And for the first time, instead of them pulling him off of me, I looked up and our eyes met. And he looked at me. We had a long, maybe 30 seconds of looking in each other's eyes. And he finally said to me, "Why do you keep coming back?" And I said, "Because I need to. That I believe in what we're doing." "Why do you keep coming back?" He said the same thing. "Because I need to." He handed his hand out to me and lifted me up. And he said, "Let's go find a place to talk." So this man and some of the people who were with him and me and some of the people demonstrating with me, we all went off to a pizza store down the street. And we sat at a table together and we talked. And we started, the demonstration went on there weekly. And every week, a small group, about 3, 4, 5 people from each pro and con, we got together and we talked. And we really heard each other. I think because we were able to get our "I'm right, you're wrong" out of the way and really hear, it shifted everything. The whole climate changed, and the whole group, there were still anti-demonstrators and demonstrators, but everything opened up and people began to treat each other with much more kindness and respect and really hear each other. And our small group of those listening to each other expanded to other groups. It was a very powerful experience for me. It really taught me the power of deep listening and how no matter how much fear there is, one still can do this. And the trick is to be willing to listen to one's own fear as well as the other person's fear, and not make it theirs or mine, but the fear. How can we hold space for this fear? I have a beautiful, big flowering crabapple tree in my yard that I planted 45 years or so ago. So it's a big tree. And some years it's just filled with blossoms, a huge, massive pink. Some years not so much. Last year it was filled with pink blossoms, and then we had a leaf frost and it killed it completely. 2 days ago, it was filled with pink blossoms, and I was really looking forward to, I'm going to get to see this tree. And sometimes I don't get to see it because it blossoms during the Emerald Isle retreat. It's filled with blossoms, and I get on a plane and I come back a week later and it's finished. So I'm going to get to see the tree. Well, this morning it was just covered with snow, ice and snow. There was 2 inches of snow in the yard, and the tree branches were weighed down the way they do with ice. And I figured, that's it. And so I sat there on my back deck for a while, thanking the tree for being there, for its life, and hearing, in a sense, the sadness of the tree that it could not give me blossoms this year if it could not, but that it was part of the whole elements and weather. But it would be here. It would remain here. And I sat with it and thanked it. Then I spent this crazy afternoon and I came back at 6:30 and I looked outside and all the snow had melted and all the pink buds are there. I don't know if they'll blossom, but they're there. I just felt so much joy coming from and to this tree. But I felt like I was able to witness the tree's pain, not pain at being frozen, but pain at not giving the delight of showing its flowers. Thank you for being with us tonight. I don't know what Aaron said, of course, because I'm not in the body when he speaks. But he and I have been talking about this question of witnessing. My primary religious affiliation is as a Quaker. And a lot of what Quakers do is to witness, to allow themselves to be a witness in the world. So I've been questioning this. What does it mean to be a witness? And then looking at my aversion to the anger in the world, to the climate situation, to COVID, to the various killings, mass shootings. What does it mean? I've been asking myself, what does it mean to be a witness to these mass shootings? To be a witness to the anger that is an expression of fear. So many people afraid that their needs won't be met. How do I say, no, you may not kill others and still hear their pain? And as I looked, I found that many times it was my own pain that I was not willing to hear. I invite all of us to go deep and find the ability to hear our own pain with compassion, because I firmly believe that this can change the world. I love you all. Thank you for being with us.